Hey, this video is on articulations and dynamics. Although I said articulations first, we'll go over dynamics first because I think dynamics are easier to explain. Now, if you're not a beginner on playing instruments, you probably won't need this, but hey, if you get to see my pretty face, we're just kidding. But anyways, dynamics are how loud you play. The first one you would go, let's go from high to low, 100% of your volume. No, don't play 100% of your volume. Usually when you play like that, you have really bad tone, and yeah, no. Anyways, the second tier would be Fortissimo, which is 90% of your volume. And then after that is 80%, which is Forte. And then you cut that in half, and it's 40%, which is Mezzo Forte. And then you cut that by half again, which is 20%, which would be Mezzo Piano. And then cut it down by another 50%. And then it is, when I say cut it down by 50%, I don't mean like minus 50% because that's like negative. I meant like cut in half. But then if you do cut Mezzo Piano, which is already 20% in half, it's piano, which would be 10%. And then you cut that down by another half, and then it will be 5%, which is Mezzo Piano. Or not Mezzo Piano. Sorry, Pianissimo. It might have been really confusing, so articulations, they're like, oh, if you see like a dot or like a little hut on top of the note or a line, you're like, what does that mean? I'll go over the basic ones that you should know, which would be like a slur, which is a line over the note. That means you just blow your air through the instrument and then move your fingers. Don't tongue at all. When you slur, be careful that if you have a high note up, you might want to tongue it because you want to get the air through so you can play that note. Don't do that. I'll upload another video next time with a bunch of good practice, like, I don't know what they're called, like good exercises for you to practice so you won't end up doing that. Another thing that what you have to be careful of when you're playing slurs is if you have a high note, you want to play that high note really loud, but you shouldn't do that either. And again, I'll upload some exercises so you can practice that too. And then you have a note which doesn't have anything on it. That's just, you just tongue it like a da sound. If you have a dot on it, that means it's staccato, and that means you should play it with more force, so it's be like da. And then sometimes when you have a slur, you might find an accent mark, which is like a little hut on top of it. So there's like a note with an accent mark. That means you want to tongue that note while slurring, which might be confusing, but just basically tongue the note, I'm pretty sure. And then there's also times where you have like two notes that are the same pitch. So like if you have a D and then you play another D, but it's slurred, so you want to make sure you have those two D's in there. Just close your mouth like this. So when you play, just like, that's how I do it, and I'd be wrong, but that's what my friend told me. So anyways, that's about it, I think, if I'm not leaving anything out. So have fun learning.